Susan Powell was a bright, cheerful woman in her 20s, living in Utah with her husband Josh Powell and their two young sons, Charlie, 4, and Braden, 2. They appeared to be the image of suburban happiness. But behind the closed doors of their home, there were signs of deep dysfunction. Susan had been documenting her growing fears. She kept a secret journal and even recorded a video of their home's belongings stating, "If something happens to me, make sure it wasn't an accident." What happened next would become one of the most haunting and devastating domestic cases in recent American history. On December 6, 2009, Susan failed to show up for work. Her friends and coworkers grew worried when she also missed her daycare drop-off for the kids. Police were called for a welfare check. Inside the house, they found no one home. Oddly, fans were blowing on a wet carpet, but there was no explanation why. Later that day, Josh returned with the children. He claimed he had taken the boys camping at midnight in freezing temperatures. When asked about Susan, he said she was home when he left and he didn't know where she went. This bizarre story immediately raised suspicions. Susan's friends told investigators that she had been unhappy and fearful in her marriage. Josh controlled finances tightly, had become increasingly erratic, and had isolated her from friends. He discouraged her from attending church and tracked her whereabouts. Her journal revealed mounting dread. In one chilling entry, she wrote, "If I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one." Despite suspicions, there was no body, no evidence of foul play, and no confession. Police could not arrest Josh without concrete proof. But the investigation deepened, and what they uncovered was disturbing. During the investigation, attention turned to Steve Powell, Josh's father, when he offered support to Josh and gave multiple odd interviews. In one such interview, Steve shockingly claimed Susan was in love with him and that she had made sexual advances toward him. When police searched Steve's home, they found thousands of voyeuristic images of Susan, including photos taken without her knowledge and recordings of her private conversations. Steve was arrested and convicted of voyeurism and child pornography. But Susan was still missing, and Josh's behavior grew even more erratic. He moved to Washington with the boys and refused to cooperate with investigators. Over time, custody of Charlie and Braden was given to Susan's parents. On February 5, 2012, a supervised social worker brought the two boys to Josh's rented home for a scheduled visit. As the boys entered, Josh slammed the door in the caseworker's face. Moments later, the house erupted into flames. Emergency services arrived too late. Inside the ashes, investigators found 3 bodies, Josh and his 2 sons. The autopsy showed he had attacked the boys with a hatchet before setting the house ablaze with gasoline. It was a murder-suicide. Josh had killed his own children and himself rather than lose control. His final emails indicated intent. "I'm sorry. Goodbye." The world was horrified. Though Susan's body was never recovered, her disappearance is now considered a murder. Josh Powell was the prime suspect all along, and with the children's deaths, the puzzle became horrifyingly clear. Documents and journals later showed that Josh was abusive, narcissistic, and paranoid. He feared losing custody, control, and reputation, and in his twisted mind, taking the lives of his children was a way to strike back at those he felt had wronged him. Susan's remains are still missing, but her voice lives on through her journals and the advocacy of her grieving family.